just think there's some poor fool that may have actually gone to a theater, risked COVID just to see Malignant.
It's that time again. Time for the all-new Culture Cast, which begins right now. Hello again, and welcome to the all-new Culture Cast. I'm Nick, and with me tonight we got...
Cousin Charles.
Hey, Cuz. Thanks for joining me tonight.
Pleasure to be here as always.
Now, what we're talking about tonight was your suggestion. And so I'm going to let you introduce this. What are we talking about tonight?
We are discussing something that I think will be history in the making. It is a relatively new release for us. It is the James Wan directed Malignant, which did not come out in October, but actually came out in the kind of like middle of September.
What do we got here? September 10th.
September 10th, so a month before October and Halloween. But oh boy, it's a horror classic in the making. Right up there with Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein and Elvira, Mistress of the Dark.
So why did you want to talk about this movie? I mean, it looked interesting when I saw the previews. I'm like, I should watch that, but I'm like, I'm probably never going to get around to watching it. And then you're like, we got to do this one. I'm like, all right, I'll watch it. I got like a couple of days left on the subscription before it goes away. And so I watched it like the last day. And I'm thinking to myself after the movie's done, I'm like, what the hell did I just watch?
Yeah, that's kind of it's very much like that's very much the reaction that I think for myself and my one friend Ryan that I've shown this movie to. It's very much a what the fuck is this? Because it's on its own, like it's more interesting with the context of like who's behind the camera, because on its own it's a pretty just standard kind of badish horror movie, but kind of once you know the pedigree behind it, that's where it gets interesting, because this is I think a lot of people talk about like, oh, directors should be allowed to create their own vision. They don't need studio notes. They don't need actors. A director should be able to just go out and make the film that they want to make. And James Wan made the film he wanted to make. And oh boy.
I feel like, I haven't seen all of what James Wan has done, but I feel like if you look at his career, with like the exception of like Furious 7, which I think people forget he actually directed one of the Fast and Furious movies, and Aquaman, he's basically done everything how he's wanted to do it. He created the Saw franchise and was involved early on with that. I guess he was involved in a producing role, but he created the Conjuring universe. And now he has this.
This.
I don't think James Wan has ever heard the word no in his life.
No. Well, but the thing is, like, bring up the whole that he pretty much helped create the Saw franchise. Like, he's kind of had a pretty powerful influence in like modern horror for the last like 20-ish plus years.
Yeah.
From like the early 2000s onward, like, any major, horror franchise you can kind of tie back to him, because you got the Conjuring, you got the Saw, you got the Insidious movies. And I know there's probably a whole bunch of other stuff that he's, slapped his producer name on. So, but then it's like, okay, it's like, okay, I'm assuming he came with this idea. I'm not sure. I've got two theories in my head. One, this is an idea that he had from back in the early 2000s for a horror movie. And he's just been kind of sitting on it, waiting for the right time. Or two, and this is more likely, him and his new wife, and I'll mention why that's important later, were kind of just shooting the shit and thought of an idea for a horror movie, and then decided to put pen to paper. Maybe they're a little drunk, maybe they were a little high, and when they sobered up, they realized they had a fully finished script for a movie, and he decided to call up all of his buddies at Warner Brothers and say, "I got an idea."
That may very well be the case. I don't know, but
Well, I was going to say, for the uninitiated who are just tuning in, should we explain? Nick, do you want to explain what the plot of Malignant is?
I would absolutely love to explain what the plot of Malignant is. So, Malignant is a story about a woman who has an abusive husband who slams her against the wall, and then suddenly she starts having visions of people being murdered, and the people are actually being murdered by a monstrous creature. And so the cops, of course, are thinking, you're the killer. And she's like, I'm not the killer, it's my invisible friend from childhood. But in reality, as it's revealed in the last in the third act, within the last 20 minutes of the movie, it turns out that she had, as a little kid, they called it like a cancerous tumor, but it was like it wasn't a fully formed conjoined twin on the back of her, and they shared like a skull, and he was evil and apparently has evil powers, and they decided, fine, this kid's not worth it, so they cut off as much of him as they could, and then they shoved the rest of the face back in her skull and just sewed her up. And he started attacking. He was trying to get revenge for the people who did that to him, including taking it out on his birth mother, who he somehow was able to find. Don't know how, but he was. And the sisters and the woman's adopted not step. Well, she's the one who's adopted. However that works. Her actual sister she grew up with.
I think adopted sibling would still work. I think it goes both ways.
Okay. But yeah, so that's Malignant. It's a very much a whodunit for like the first 2/3 of the movie, and then when it's all revealed who Gabriel is, it's just laughable.
Yeah.
But I do appreciate. Oh, we could talk about it. We'll come back to that later. But yeah. So that's Malignant.
Yeah. Oh man, it. I guess where to kind of begin. Where to kind of begin with this, because it's a shock to your system. Because, like, again, if you didn't know that James Wan was involved with it, that it was like his story idea, his directing pedigree, you'd think it's like one of those generic movies that like you'd find on Netflix or something like that, where like you're like, what? There's a lot of movies like this where they're like maybe a little bit higher budget, kind of they got some good, decent enough cinematography, but like nothing about this movie screams like, oh yeah, this is a major studio film. This is because it's like shot not very well. Like,
I'm going to disagree with that, but carry on.
Like, it's none of it's. There's some things that are creative, which I feel like there's a shot in there. I'll start with some props, like things I genuinely like unironically. There's like one shot where, in the ambiguous 18th century house that somehow our main character, which I can't even remember her name now, we'll call it Malignant.
Well, it was Marion.
Is it Marion?
I'm pretty sure it was Marion. I know her real name was like Emily.
Yeah, or
Madison. Madison was her name. Madison.
Yeah. But like so there's like one shot that's like an overhead thing where it's like she's running through like this, like her 18th century house that there's no way that she could possibly afford on like a nurse's salary. I think they never say what she does, but I'm assuming she was a nurse.
She wears like scrubs. Yeah.
Yeah. But
maybe the husband had like a huge life insurance policy that she collected.
I guess. But like the first shot of this movie is and this kind of tells you what you're in for, is like this opening of like this. Oh God, I don't try to think the best way to describe it. Like, I want to say
Very
Arkham
campy.
Asylum. Yeah, because it's like it's like supposed to be like a mental institution, but it's like in the middle of the woods, off a cliff, overfacing a lake with like these two. It basically looks like Arkham Asylum or something like that. And like that's like, oh, this, and then this is how the movie begins. And of course we have like gay, I guess what would it be, Gabriel escapes, or like, and he's like,
he's doing something bad,
right. And then we have like they're like they explain like, again, this is about like within the first 2 minutes, he's like they break off he breaks the guard's arms, or it's like, it's not a very convincing effect. You know how they did it, because it's like, oh, he sticks the hand in and then pulls out, bone sticking out. It's like, I think like that's some like a film student could have done, like effects wise. Like
it's an effect they use again and again in the movie when Gabriel, especially at the end when he's killing all the cops.
Yeah.
And like the bones just keep flicking up.
Well, you know that bones are very brittle. They're like, it's like tissue paper, or they're like chopsticks.
Yeah, that doesn't bother. I know that's silly. That didn't bother me because Gabriel's supposed to be unnaturally strong. So I'll allow it. I'll allow it.
And then, but yeah, I guess like what was the? I'm trying to think where to kind of how to tackle this beast, because there's so many different angles you can approach it from. Like, I think the opening shot kind of told us, okay, we're in for kind of like a campy, fun sort of movie. And then the next set where it's like, okay, 20 years later, or like modern day, it's almost like a parody of the whole setup is like a parody of every kind of horror trope from the last like 10 years or so, where it's like everything's ambiguous. You know what I mean? Like the house is like from the 1800s, the car is like from the late 80s, or like, late 80s or early 90s. The clothing's kind of sort of nondescript. It's like every horror movie or new horror movie kind of has that sort of look and feel of like, it's a timeless look. It could take place in any era.
And if you even look at the poster of this movie, it looks like it's a very 80s poster, like a horror movie from the 80s, especially including with the Stranger Things font.
Exactly. Yeah.
For the title.
Well, they try and make it, like it's sort of selling it like it's like this is a slasher flick, which it is, but it's kind of, it's almost like a noir a little bit, because it's a lot of the detectives sort of figuring out what's going on, and the characters kind of trying to figure it out.
That kind of reminded me a little bit of the if you look at the early Saw movie, because if memory serves, the first Saw movie had like a couple of plot lines going. One of them was like detectives trying to find who's the killer, who's the jigsaw killer, and we think it's this guy, and they're trying to track it down. So like, I think that might be just a James Wan kind of thing that he was bringing back.
But Saw is I mean, I guess you compare to where it is. Like, I'll be honest, I never really got too deep into the Saw movies. Like, I'm not really. I really wasn't like never really watched any of those like where they're almost like torture films or something like that. But I mean, the first Saw,
porn, as they call it,
torture porn. Yeah, that was but it's like the first film's like a very basic setup. Two guys wake up in a room. There's a dead body and they're chained up. Like, that's a very simple setup, and it's something that, but it's effective, because you're like, how do you get out of a situation like this? But here,
it's just like the YouTube video: 2 girls, 1 cup.
Yeah.
2 guys, 1 dead body. Exact same thing.
Yeah. But this
changed my mind.
Yeah. But this sucker, I'm trying to gather my thoughts here. So yeah, we got the ambiguous horror setting of like, it's happening anywhere, and then we meet our inciting incident is the husband getting mad at his pregnant wife because she keeps having miscarriages. And he says like the fucking most horrible thing you can think of like, why do you keep letting my kids die? And you like, Jesus Christ. So
well, he has a point. It is her fault.
Yeah. Well, we don't know that at the time. We don't know that. I mean, technically it's true. He was onto something, but at the time we didn't know. We didn't realize that.
That's why he went. That's why Gabriel went after him. Like, you dick. I want to take credit for that.
Yeah. So he slams her into the drywall. Cracks her head open because again she's bleeding, and she's bleeding out the whole thing. What?
Why doesn't she go to like the hospital? She's presumably some sort of nurse, and even if you're not a nurse, you think, bleeding from the head. Nah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Especially because like it keeps happening throughout the entire film.
Well,
I mean, I can see why she doesn't want to go right away. Cause like, oh no, he still loves me. The
right,
spouse sort of thing.
Right.
And but like after he's dead, it's like, okay, there's nothing stopping you. Go.
Yeah. And also like going back to like, okay, I guess full spoilers, but just go watch the movie if you haven't seen it, people. Like it's well worth your time, especially if you get a bunch of drunk friends. But also, okay, so like when the husband died, like the setup to like the first kill of the movie, where we meet Gabriel, like they set up one thing, and this is how my brain watches movies now. They set up like the blender turns on, they have like shot of it looking down. I was thinking like, okay, somebody's going to get a hand stuck in there, and then they're going to get their hand all blended up, but that never happens. Instead, it's just like very much like, I don't know, just him.
This movie does a lot of that, though. There's a lot of things where you're like, oh, this guy's going to get iced this way, and then nope, it's a fake out. Like
Ryan Johnson came in to help write the script. He subverted your expectations.
Again, I think this is a James Gunn thing because he knows horror. He knows how to build suspense. James Wan. No, James Gunn. It's the same guy. It's just special effects.
Yeah.
The scene with the older doctor, in like the neon lit bedroom.
Yeah.
Terrible. I mean, I would be pissed if I got that apartment and like I found out a neon light shine right into my. Because I'm guessing this guy's a doctor. He probably does well. He doesn't need to live like that anyway.
Yeah.
Like, because you think like Gabriel's in the room, and you think like, oh, he's in the closet. Nope.
Right.
Oh, he's in here. Nope. And then like there's a shot where he's sitting on the bed and you're underneath the bed, and the camera zooms in closer and closer and closer. Like, oh, you think you have the point of view of the of Gabriel, and then nope, the guy at the last minute the feet come up, and then the reveal is when he turns off the light, boom, that's when you see the shadow. You're still underneath the bed, but then you see the shadow of Gabriel back there, which like, I mean, it's not a scare, but it's definitely the intended suspense. So, like, this movie has a lot of that, especially earlier on when you're still trying to figure out what's going on.
Right. I will say this, like halfway through watching this movie the first time, my first thoughts, once they've kind of mentioned, I'll be honest, I thought I knew what the reveal was, like, because my first thoughts were, do you remember that one Treehouse of Horror where it's revealed Bart had a evil twin, Hugo?
Oh yeah, it's like in the attic or something like that.
Yeah. I was thinking like, oh god, I think it was set up where like Gabriel wants to sew himself back together with Madison. Like, is it a Hugo type story where she was the evil twin the whole time?
That'd be amazing.
That would be, but it's far the final reveal, or the actual reveal, is much more creative. I'm not sure if creative's the right word, but just unique. Let's go there. Let's use unique.
Yeah.
But yeah, can we? I guess should we? Or Nick, do you want to tell our audience what Gabriel actually is?
I'm not exactly sure what he is. He's like a cancerous tumor
Mm-hmm.
that somehow came alive
Mm-hmm.
or is alive. Like they were awfully vague on that, and probably intentionally so. But
Right, because Gabriel's not like a split personality.
no,
He is he's also he might be a demon. Like he may be somewhat demonic because he's got electricity powers and also knows kung fu. And he comes the way, oh god, the shot when the movie goes from uh goes from 0 to 100, where like it's basically set up almost like a werewolf transformation scene where
yeah,
like
in the women's prison.
yeah, the women's in the giant drunk tank that's like, a 20-foot by 20-foot cage of like all these various women and minorities from across the decades, because you got 90s butch prostitute, you've
Yeah,
got 70s black
like
lady
the
prostitute,
afro.
yeah, you've got cholo lady, and like every other nightwalker stereotype in between in this like fucking massive cage. And you got this little teeny tiny like suburban mom, in Madison, and she starts like again like a werewolf movie, like they're shaken and stuff like that. And then it's revealed that Gabriel comes out, her head opens up like a Venus flytrap
Yeah,
or something. Like the skull bones just happen to just open up, and even though I don't think there's anything holding them in place, it just opens up and somehow folds back or something, revealing Monster Man, Gabriel, who's like an eye, a few teeth, and then he like dislocates. I will say
yeah,
this: after I watched the movie, I tried a couple times, like, okay, how is he doing stuff? Like, I get, okay, the shoulder dislocated. Like, I'm trying to think, like, are those arms moving? Because I'm like, okay, shoulders dislocated, so I'm just like twisting around. And this goes into the other idea of like, what is Gabriel? Because besides being a disgusting tumor man with psychic powers,
it's
he
not a
also had,
puma.
it's not Puma. He's also got super strength and knows kung fu, because holy shit, he fucking decimates that entire prison or that entire jail cell full of women, and then proceeds to murder an entire police station. Like, and the only
With the
reason he gets,
exception of our three hero cops, the
yes,
Kay, his
Croco-
partner, who I
uh,
was surprised she did not die. I thought for sure she was going to die, but
uh,
because she was like the asshole partner.
right, yeah,
Um,
she. I will say this, like if anyone's while James Wan is the director of this and like big high profile director, no one else in this movie like has any credits of any note that I can find. Like there, which is surprising because I was expecting like a Patrick Wilson or somebody to show up, like that, because he's usually like in a lot of like the Conjuring movies, the Insidious movies, and even in Aquaman. Like he kind of pops
oh
in.
yeah, that's right.
I was expect like he's one of those actors like where it's like, well, the movie may not be the greatest, but he's usually always good in it. Um, but yeah, there's no one like of note that you'd go like, oh, it's that person, or like, oh, it's that old timey actor that hasn't been in a movie in like 20 years, like a Ed Wood, Bela Lugosi type deal. Um, the closest I could think of, like, it feels like with the lady partner, they wanted to get Wanda Sykes, but they could only get the name brand Wanda Sykes.
Discount Wanda Sykes.
Exactly.
Was it yeah, was it Michelle Brianna White? Let's see, was anything worthwhile? She was in it. Oh, come on. She was in Encino Man,
She was.
according to her uh what do you call it?
Uh,
IMDb.
I am. Hey, well, I guess I can't. Well, then there goes my argument that there's no pedigree. We got one of the stars of Encino Man in this picture.
Yeah, I recognize a couple of these people who are in this movie. Like I recognize Susanna Thompson, who was on the TV show Arrow, playing Arrow's mom, and part of that was the Borg Queen on Star Trek Voyager. But then she's kind of like a bit a character person.
Who was she in the movie? I'm trying to remember.
She played the adopted mother, who was in the wheelchair.
Oh, that was her. Oh, I didn't even recognize her.
I recognize McKenna Grace, who she played the young version of Madison. She's an up and coming actress. She's been in a lot of
adult films. No,
yeah, right. She's been in a lot of bit roles in bigger movies, but I think she's going to really break through because she's the lead character in Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Oh.
But that was like the small role that she had there. And in a smaller role, I think this was the Butch Prison inmate, Zoe Bell, she appears a lot. She's a stunt person, but she appears a lot in she's appeared in a couple of Quentin Tarantino movies.
Yeah, I was going to. I think I did remember seeing her name pop up in the credits, but I wasn't sure where to bring her up at. But so yeah. But going back, I want to go back to the prison scene because this is if the movie gets known for anything, it's probably. I would say the movie is it's kind of mediocre, but then it kicks it into overdrive in a few spots. Mainly for me, it's right after they hire the not psychic, because they crack some dumb joke earlier of where the adopted sister's like, I was in a TV show audition. They said that that police sometimes use real psychics.
No, we don't.
And then another third of the movie, we hire a psychic or a hypnotist or something. But well, I guess we should set up that the movie's got layers. One of the layers subplots they set up is the again, I think this is going back to that idea of James Wan came up with this over a weekend, because I think he must have seen an article about the Seattle Underground, which is a real thing. And I think he thought, I want that in a movie. But they set up this sequence. At first, I want to know if you had this reaction. I thought the tour guide was the doctor from the opening.
Yes. I watched this with the Kiwi, my wife, and she thought the same thing. I'm like, is that her? Kind of looks like her because her hair's styled the same. But once that character is kidnapped, the immediate scene after, you meet the doctor again.
Yeah, and that's
it's not her.
Well, then becomes pretty quickly obvious that the doctor's not coming back, which is a little weird that they kind of okay, they set up okay, this is a serial killer that's killing people from this mysterious medical facility, and I guess it's sort of one of those things people logically oh, why don't you go after the big boss first and then go after the underlings. In a normal movie, it's always oh, you start small and you work your way up. Mm-hmm. This movie does not mess around. It's okay, doctor head of the program, boom, they're getting knocked off first with a oh god, I can't.
It's the award or something like that.
Yeah, the signature murder. I think what James Wan wanted to be the signature murder weapon. This medical trophy that's strong enough to be able to be sharpened into a blade. It's not this ain't no chintzy plastic. The people who made this sucker, they want to know you're holding something that's solid here. Could you imagine if it was just he went to the grinder to turn into a weapon and it's all fiberglass and just shatters in his hand? No. Well, I think on the second time watching it, I noted like in the first shot of the movie, they have the little trophy in the background. I'm like, oh, there it is. There's the oddly designed trophy murder weapon.
Let's talk about that for a second.
Okay.
It goes back to like how Gabriel knows kung fu. So not only is it an oddly designed, it's supposed to be the medical symbol, like with the two snakes. But it makes for a unique killing weapon. But what more fascinates me is that Gabriel knew how to use like tools enough to cut through metal, file it down to make it extra pointy, and it had to be. I know it's a separate prop, but like had to smelt it enough to like make it extra sharp. How did he know how to do all that? Did Madison know to do that? And he just is taking her like knowledge.
Well, as we all know, suburban house moms are probably the most dangerous people on the planet.
I guess.
I guess, again, spoilers for later in the movie, maybe he absorbed it from the unborn fetuses he kept eating off of to build up his strength. Which is a line that was spoken in a movie in 2020. Because it wasn't all the murders that Gabriel was committing that caused Madison to snap out of it. It was the fact that the adoptive sister yells out that Gabriel was using her fetuses to build himself back up, and during the last 20 plus something years.
But yeah, it's yeah. I mean, I get it. Like it's supposed to be like he killed my children. Then you get like
right.
you always hear stories about like mothers like lifting like cars when like their kid gets trapped underneath or something like that, like that adrenaline rush. So I guess that was the push that she needed. She didn't have any emotional attachment to all these other people being killed,
or her sister getting crushed under like a 1,000-pound medical bed. That, by the way, Gabriel flips like it's a fucking card table.
Well, he has supernatural powers.
Honestly, I think the adoptive sister might have some powers going on because somehow her legs are not crushed into paste after getting
it landed cushion side down, so it was okay.
But yeah, so that's how. But yeah, that's kind of how. That's how the movie ends. But there's or not the end, but that's how Gabriel's eventually defeated. Is that she gets the powers within her the whole time, and then it's like, and the movie kind of sets itself up for a sequel. Where he's like, I'll be back.
Yeah.
And she's like, I know, and I'll be ready. Like, what?
Reminds me of do you remember X-Men? Where the first X-Men movie where Magneto's like, these prison bars won't hold me. I'll be out. Yeah. And like Xavier's like, and I'll be ready for you, or something like.
See, this is another thing I wanted to bring up. I'm thinking, like, I don't think Malignant's going to become the next Conjuring universe, unfortunately.
Probably not.
But if they decide for a sequel, I already got an idea for you.
Go on.
Okay, so I'm thinking a Silence of the Lambs type situation. I'm thinking in this world, evil parasitic twins with superpowers are just everywhere. They're like a dime a dozen. And there's another serial killer that's got the same sort of MO as Gabriel. Electrical powers, super strength, all this stuff. So they have to call upon Gabriel to fight another tumor monster of some sort. Like, I don't know what the other tumor monster is going to be, but I'm sure you could probably get creative. I mean, you can just fully rip off Quado at this point and just have it be like a half human in like somebody's stomach. But that's what I want. I want it to be like a tumor monster versus another tumor monster.
So
like
basically, you want Godzilla versus Kong.
Yes, but it's like, but yeah, they're doing kung fu and like crawling up the walls like spiders and shit. Like you're telling me, like, I want Gabriel Detective Kakoa. It's like bringing Madison out. It's like, Madison, we need Gabriel to look at the crime scene, and she's like freaking out. The head, that's the shit that I want. He's like talking through the phone or something like that. Like, that is what I want, a full-on Hannibal Lecter style thing, Silence of the Lambs, but with tumor monsters that know kung fu. Because go back.
Yeah, I have an idea for a sequel. I got an idea
Okay.
for a sequel. It's basically The Fugitive, because the movie ends and technically she still did all those crimes.
Yeah.
Like,
And
how are they going to explain that one away? No, she had a tumor monster in her head. It's fine now. Oh, okay.
yeah, just open up the back of her skull. You'll find him right there. A little eye and teeth and everything.
It's not that like the scientist people were killed, but like he killed like a whole like police force.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I think the police are to just as much to blame. Seriously, the one guard seeing that that all the prisoners are dead in this holding cell, decides, I'm going to stick my gun through the bars, and keep firing at the meat shield that that Gabriel's holding up, just so I can get my arm broken off and my key stolen. Like, really, they've brought it on themselves when you think about it. But no, yeah, but it's weird because it's not like that one sequence. There are two things that went through my mind. One, what the hell is this? Because again, it goes from being like this, like, who is Gabriel or what is Gabriel kind of mystery, you're trying to figure it out, to like a full-on action scene. And the other weird thing is, I remember watching in Aquaman, there's a moment where another long-haired monster tears people apart in a cool like 360 sequence. One of them being a horrible tumor monster, the other one being Amber Heard.
Boom, boom.
Yeah. But no, seriously, like, I think, because I know there's like a quick cut in the sequence where like a dude's arm gets cut off, and I'm almost positive that happens in like Aquaman, where like an arm gets cut off as they're like doing the 360 shot around the action. But yeah, like, also let's point out the fact that the police station is like this giant warehouse where all these desks are just conveniently lined up one next to another.
I kind of like the look of that police station. I know it was designed for the action sequence at the end, but it had like you were saying earlier, how this movie has a whole bunch of looks. It reminded me of like a 1950s noir type of thing.
And that's the other again, it's like one of those things where it's like, I can't call it bad because it's lazy. You know what I mean? Like there's clearly thought that went into this. Like, I like that the opening hospital, it's not just like, like a brick building and like the middle of a downtown. It's like, no, this giant gothic structure out in the middle of nowhere, that supervillain would call home. And the fact that the house is like this weird ass Victorian home that people in 2021 just are able to afford for some reason. And that the police station is this weird, it's got like subway tiles everywhere. Like, there's a couple of neat locations. It's just, and the other thing I wanted to bring up was the fact that the performer that they had do Gabriel when he's walking backwards, like, that takes some skill. Like, that
was cool.
Yeah, like, it's like, it's not a CGI monster. It's like, I think it's like a woman that is actually performing all these actions backwards, which is like really fun, which is cool. Again, it's like there was thought put into this, it just kind of like it's like you're making the world's best macaroni portrait. You know what I mean? Where it's like there's effort put into this, but at the end of the day, it's still a macaroni portrait. It's like all this effort, all this like creativity put into this for just like a kind of not even out there, but just kind of like very B movie, but not like, oh, we know it's B movie. Like, no, this is a very serious film. like it doesn't feel it feels like it's not quite tongue in cheek, you know what I mean? Where it's like, oh, we're in on the joke. It's more like, no, this is a very serious film
They play it
project.
straight.
Oh yeah.
They play it straight. I mean, the beginning of the movie, like okay, this is what's weird. There's a tonal shift. Like the very beginning of the movie has like this campy late 80s 90s vibe of, I don't know what you want to call it, but very campy, like an overproduced. It almost reminded me of like a Joel Schumacher Batman movie where like the inmates have escaped from Arkham Asylum and we got to call Batman. It had that sort of like tone
Right.
because it's just so like hyperkinetic. And then like we switch to like boom, modern day suburbia. There's weird things going on. It like just clashes with what's going on.
Well, it goes in kind of like that again, kind of like that modern horror angle where it's like very much like mainly because I rewatched I watched the Midnight Mass, but it's kind of like more like, well, we're horror stories, but we're also very much family dramas with like a little horror tossed in. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, definitely when it's like the doctors, there's like red lights everywhere. There, it's like, all hell's breaking loose, and she's like, "We've got to cut out the cancer." like, oh, okay, okay, we're in for a treat, and then of course, like the monster is Gabriel's kind of revealed, but you can kind of tell it's like something weird. It's like, but yeah, then there's definitely a shift, and then it kind of there's definitely some weird choices, like the sister. Like, I'll be honest, I kind of wish Gabriel had killed her before she was even born because she's kind of annoying. Like,
she doesn't bother me, but I get where you're coming from.
Well, okay, so the first scene she's in is like she's there when Madison wakes up, and it's like we get the Kill Bill moment where she's like, "Where's my baby?" And that, but then the next scene we meet her in, she's in a princess costume because she was going to an audition or was coming back from an audition.
She worked at like some kids like some castle kids thing, and she was on her lunch break.
Like, again, like, why not like I guess an average director would like put her like in a waitress outfit, like the apron and like
But she's
like
an actress.
Exactly, but a great director is putting that woman in a full-on princess costume. That's the difference between difference between a mediocre and a classy director. The other thing I wanted to bring up, again, this is more behind the scenes stuff that I had to look up, but we got to bring up the tech. I got to bring up the technician, the lady CSI.
Rob Zombie's, not Rob Zombie. James Wan's wife.
Yeah,
who co-wrote the movie.
Yes, and whose only character motivation is she is pining after the hot Asian detective, aka James Wan. Like, oh my God, she's a Romanian model or something. Is what I looked up, but she is. Oh boy, like she is. Like she would do great in a Tommy Wiseau produced movie or something because she is not a.
I didn't think she was that bad. I mean, they used her like just enough. If she was like the sister or the other detective where she's in it a lot, like she only had like 3 small bits.
Yeah, but there's
that's enough. I mean, she was fine. It didn't, and that kind of role, having someone who's not like a great actress or something doesn't bother me.
Okay.
So I'm
It,
okay with
it didn't bother me, but it definitely added to the entertainment value of this. Mainly because I think she says some dumb line of like, I think it's like after the doctor is murdered, and like they find the base of the trophy, and it's like we gotta find that other missing half, and she's
Oh,
like, yeah, yeah, don't we all, or something, and looking like longingly looking at the detective, like, oh my god, this is a murder investigation, people.
hey, the detective does something inside her, and she wants that.
Yeah,
I'm
but
looking her up here. I guess she was in The Nun and The Conjuring. The Devil Made Me Do It. So she's been popping up in some
hey,
uh,
in some
movies, some James Wan
James
movies.
Wan's keep it, like I said, paying the bit, like I said, getting her those roles. But yeah, no, I actually did see the Devil Made Me Do It, which was okay, but like I don't remember her in that, or if I did,
It's
it was probably
it was probably just a very small role, I'm guessing.
yeah. I mean, that movie was like that's a movie for a different day, but that's like also that's kind of like the opposite spectrum where like nothing interesting enough happened in that movie where it's like worth talking about. It's like, well, you know what I mean? Like you can have two levels of bad horror. You can have bad horror that's like kind of forgettable, like that, but then you can have Malignant, which there's still stuff that I still think about. Like there'll be times where I'll kind of find myself sort of figuring out like how are they using the arms backwards, like to grab stuff. Like I know that it's like not physically, but it's like not really probable. That someone can have their joints dislocated, several times over and not notice. But still, it's just like yeah, like I won't forget Malignant. Um, I also another point I did want to bring up. I think James Wan might owe Tom Green a paycheck.
Why is that? Is he
Well,
in this
because
movie?
no, he's not in this movie, but Tom Green should be credited for the idea of the backwards man. Because
I don't know much about Tom Green, so explain.
there's a scene. Okay, so after this movie ended, there was a scene in. You can look this up, but there's a scene in the movie Freddy Got Fingered where like Tom Green is wearing like a business suit, but it's backwards. So like um, it's like reversed, and he's just singing the song, "The Backwards Man, the Backwards Man. I can do things fast, you can. I do things," and and right, and again during the jail sequence, that was all that was playing in my head was that little tune that Tom Green made up for that stupid movie.
My life was richer before you told me that story.
It's a, like I said, it's a. I mean, that's a movie for another day. That's an episode for another day. But yeah, the fucking career of Tom Green. um, put that one on the back burner. But I'm trying. Oh God, yeah, yeah, no. Well, mainly because okay, since we both showed this to our respective spouses, what was the Kiwi's reaction to this movie after everything was said and done?
Well, she didn't. She missed out like the last 10 minutes just because she had to get ready for bed and everything. And so when I came upstairs, she was like, "Oh, how did it end?" I told her. She's like, "Oh, okay." I mean, I don't know. We really didn't talk much about it after that. I guess she liked it well enough. I mean, she's not big on the horror films, but she was kind of like not suckered into it, but like she was going to sit down next to me and do something else, but then she just started watching it,
Yeah.
and I don't know. I don't know. We actually I did not actually ask her what she thought of the movie. Hmm.
I will say, I think Megan had, surprisingly enough, like I said, the recommendation for this movie actually came from two sources. One being Megan, like she had kind of said to me, I think on like a Monday, she was like, "Hey, we should watch this movie Malignant. I heard it's supposed to be pretty good." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And then I get a text from my buddy Ryan, who's kind of like, he's kind of a shit poster like me. But he's like, dog, we gotta watch this. We gotta watch this movie, Malignant. It's supposed to be like the next Room or something like that. So I had basically, I felt a little bad almost watching it with Maggie because I think she was expecting like a legit horror movie, but instead what she got was a comedy of a comedy of like I don't know, a movie I think will live in infamy. And I do hope that it does grow a fan base because it's like it is just. I very much enjoyed it. I will say this: like, I'm sad that it's no longer. If audience, if you're listening to this right now, I'm not sure what point, but at this current time, it is no longer on HBO Max until like I don't know. I think they usually come back in like 3 months or something like that.
Yeah, that seems to be the standard.
Yeah, like some sort, like 3 or 4 months, and then it'll be back in like the regular rotation. But when it's back, you get a bunch of friends, sit down in your basement, and just pop this sucker in. Um, there's one. There's something we got to talk. There's something else we got to bring up. The fact that James Wan thinks that the Pixies are like a scary horror theme with that song that keeps popping up throughout the movie when like something dramatic is supposed to be happening.
I didn't catch that. What song was that?
Oh, I don't have my computer. I can't look it up, but it's like it's played like 2 times in the movie that I recall very strongly. One, the first time I think it's played is like crap. I can't remember what it is. Do you got your computer?
I am at my computer. Let me.
What
am I looking up?
What Pixie songs was played in Malignant?
What Pixie? The Pixie?
Yeah, Pixies. I think that's how you spell Pixies.
What Pixie song in Malignant? Where is my mind?
Yeah, that's the one. But it pops up right after like this dramatic reveal where like Madison tells her sister that Madison, I'm adopted. It's like, bah!
Oh yeah, I mean, I didn't know what that song was, but I do remember that it got like a real dramatic moment, and it had like the music start playing. I'm like, huh, that's an interesting decision.
Yeah, and then but then I think the second time it comes up is like, okay, so the one subplot, I'm not sure if we mentioned it before, with the real mother and the Seattle Underground, when she gets like taken by Gabriel, and then we kind of cut to her periodically throughout the movie of her being like chained up in like this attic, and then at some point she finally is able to cut herself free, lands on the floor, and the ceiling caves in. Lo and behold, it's in our main character's house. She falls 50 feet onto a coffee table, and then the Pixies start playing again. And she's like, again, I'm assuming it's supposed to be a dramatic or a scary moment. I'm not sure what the vibe was that we're supposed to get out of that. I found it hilarious that, again, she just goes fucking falling 50 feet.
About that, didn't Madison have like an upstairs to her house? Like a second floor?
Yes, she does. But apparently in this house, you go up the stairs. At some point, there's the 2 or 3 bedrooms, and then there's just like a drop from the ceiling all the way through to the living room or like the den. I don't know, or the front room, I guess. Again, this house is very weirdly designed because it's like, this old timey house. It's like very thick, looks very small, but then once you get inside, it's like a lot bigger on the inside.
Right. But yeah, I also love how like this attic here has like holes in it. So like if it ever rains, and they're in Seattle, so if it ever rains, that attic's getting flooded, which it's going to do all the time because they're in freaking Seattle.
Well, considering that she's an overnight nurse and he's, I don't know, I guess the ex-husband or dead husband, I guess, is like a drunk. I bet that's how they're able to afford it. The house is like condemned, and I guess they're calling squatters' rights.
And they got like this big wind tunnel in the
Yeah,
ceiling.
yeah, and it's got all these like, because like the movie establishes that Gabriel was not active until the dead husband bashed her head against the wall and
Correct.
cracked her head open like an egg. So yeah, I guess all the stuff that that Gabriel needed to be a slasher villain, creepy trench coat, grinder to make to make his like trophy sword or trophy knife. All that stuff is just sitting up there waiting for him over the course of like a week, let's say, or like.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you know why Gabriel killed the husband other than just because?
I think just because. Yeah, I'm going to assume just because, and to make, and I think maybe to make the wife seem crazy, or like, I don't
But
know, because that tracks more suspicion, because they're like, there's no forced entry, and
right. I
so
mean, unless they wanted the husband to be out of the way, so in case because clearly she's leaving the house at night, um, that he wouldn't like notice her gone or something. I don't know.
yeah, I'm assuming just because this movie needs a body count, we need to set up: is this a ghost? Is it a monster? Because that's like how they play in the first like part of this movie. Is like, oh, is this a ghost? Is it like is it like a physical thing? And then I think at a certain point they clearly, I think probably by the time the doctor gets killed, it's like, oh no, this is a serial killer. Because they kind of play it off sort of like, is this like some sort of spirit? You know?
They don't know what it might be. Huh. I don't know. It's just weird. It was a plot device to have a first kill and he needed to exist to release Gabriel
Yeah,
and
by cracking her head open like an egg. Yeah, right. And like again, just like a perfect, like almost like this, like just perfect human shaped mark into the drywall. Like, Jesus Christ. He's like, oh baby, I'm so sorry. It's like as he bashed her head in. Like, Jesus, good God.
like why does she I know she needs to lie down, but she kind of was jerky as well when she just like arbitrarily turns off the TV and he's like, "Hey, I was watching that." Meanwhile, he was
Yeah,
also on his phone at the same time.
yeah.
Like
It,
I'm not blaming her for getting smacked around, but it's just kind of like I'm surprised. I don't know.
well, it is again one of those weird details. I think it's one of those details that separate a mediocre director from a great director. Like, sure, you could have been watching TV in the living room. Why not watch TV in the bedroom? That's some next level thinking.
No, that doesn't bother me because I could see like he's whatever if he has a job, I don't know, but if he's just like going to be lazy and the TV's in the bedroom, yeah, why not lay down and watch TV? I would do it, but
His only
that's
job
neither.
is to his only job is to free Gabriel. That's it.
Yeah, you are no longer needed for this story. You can go now.
Yeah, yeah. You may leave. Um, yeah. Then the sister. It is weird that they also use her for like they use the sister is kind of like a weird, not a weird character, but I think she's just like they're not sure what to use her as.
Hmm.
Because in some scenes, again, she's kind of quirky, but then she's also used again as a kind of love interest for the detective.
Yeah,
But
that was kind of like they're flirting, but like that
yeah,
goes nowhere. Did the detective did the detective die at the end because you see him get stabbed, but then you don't see him for the rest of the movie?
yeah, but he gets stabbed in the arm. That in movie language,
Oh,
that
okay.
means that's just a flesh wound.
That's the hero wound as they call it.
Yeah, exactly. You can just get stabbed, shot in the arm, and everybody's fine. Like there's no bleeding out at all. Even though, going back to like again the plot arm the detective has, like literally. So we have the scene of Gabriel murdering, one-shotting all the cops, like knife stab, knife stab, knife stab. Then Gabriel just conveniently like puts his arm, locks his arm in like a chair, and just pushes him.
He's
Even
good.
though even though he's been knife stabbing and like breaking off limbs and snapping necks in like less than 10 seconds, nah, you get a nice push in the chair.
Yeah, I did appreciate that when our hero cops are trying to escape, he just like whips a chair across the room.
Yeah, the discus throw of like, because it's not just like, oh, I'm throwing a chair. It's literally a discus throw. He like twists himself around, and just fucking chucks that thing. And the fact that it's like it's almost, again, going back to the comedic part of this movie, the fact that they are it's like this wide shot of them getting just like dunked on by this chair. And then they set up there's like the one kill, like, okay, so Gabriel has his 360 kill in the police station, but then they have the one like extra detective who just like is like shooting him, and he like, she gets a couple shots in, then he's like around the corner, he's like hiding like Spider-Man on the ceiling, and then pounces down and like, doesn't he like break both her arms or something?
Nah, she's fine.
Yeah, I guess. Limbs grow back. Um, but okay, going back to the sister, like they set up the one scene where she goes to the creepy hospital, and you think something scary is going to happen there, but no. Like they have this elaborate hospital set.
Yeah, and like
And they
things are
don't.
dropping in the background, and
And I don't know about you, but they, the most, you know, and I get it, it's the 90s, or it was like the 90s, but the fact that all the like video documentation of this creepy tumor monster is on VHS tapes that have been left in the wilderness, basically, and they're just fine. And she has to take them to her mom because she happens to have the only working VHS player in the entire city of Seattle, as far as I could tell. Because, like,
well, they did establish that she says that she doesn't throw away anything.
yeah,
That's called
again,
good writing.
yeah, that's character detail. The fact that she lives in this house full of shit, like boxes on boxes, and like I was thinking, like, that could maybe something with like Gabriel. The fact that she's in a wheelchair, like, oh, maybe she pushed her down a flight of stairs or something like that. But it's like it's kind of just one of those weird details. Like, nope, she's in a wheelchair because she's a old lady with a bunch of junk in her house, which I'll be honest, kind of gave me some flashbacks to my own childhood. um, but yeah, the fact that like also the fact that uh, Madison's birthday and Christmas are all shared on the same VHS tape.
Yeah. Hey, sometimes back in those days, VHS tapes, they weren't as cheap as they eventually came. You got to put everything all on one tape.
This is the tape with all the creepy shit on it. We're going to play that right now. Which, how did get like, okay, I get it. Gabriel's a freaky tumor monster with powers that should be fighting another tumor monster in a sequel. But like the fact that he was using like one of those Fisher Price phones to talk through, like, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think those have any, like, can you actually hear anything in those things?
I don't know that particular toy specifically, but since that one lit up, I wonder if you like picked it up, if it had like some noise that came through.
I guess.
I'm willing to let that go. Or maybe here's another thing. Maybe it was all in her mind, because she did say there's one point in the movie where they did say that she heard Gabriel sometimes just without using words. So I wonder if it's just like I'm talking to Gabriel right now, and that's like yeah, like it's how she has to physically manifest it. I don't know.
Right. or or she just has schizophrenia. One of the two.
Right.
Or a weird tumor monster that we just shoved into her skull. The fact that it's like they show a hand pushing the brain into there is just, that's probably one of the funniest shots in this entire movie. Just like, get on in there. There we go. Our work's done here. We took care of that creepy tumor monster.
Let's give ourselves raises. Go Big Pharma.
Yeah. And that, I guess that's the other sort of, I don't know if it's a twist, but I guess like a like kind of like a unexpected reveal. The fact that the creepy mountainside hospital actually legit was trying to help out kids. Like I would expect at one point like a line of like, we were trying to develop a new weapon, a new type of psychic soldier or something. Nope, they were legit trying to help out a freaky kid. Like they were the good guys in all this. They actually weren't monsters, even though they treated their tumor monster like, as you rightfully should, as a monster.
Cut the cancer out.
The fact that the schlubby security guard takes out the elephant gun, trank gun to try to take out this thing. He's at like the brief
at the very beginning, right?
Yeah. And then again, even though again he's killed probably like a dozen hospital staff, one shot he gets one-shotted.
Hey, maybe that's all it takes.
I guess
they'll shoot the girl and it'll go get him absorbed. No, but they do say that they give him a sedative. It's weird.
Nick, this is one of those movies. Don't think about it too hard. This is one of those turn your brain off and just watch the tumor monster just slice up cops like it's nothing.
So would you recommend this movie to people?
Absolutely. I think everyone in America should see it 5 times over. And I think if any I hope to God nobody actually paid. I guess you're paying. Yes, you are technically paying for it if you saw it through HBO Max. But I really hope nobody went out to the theater, went to a movie theater, saw a poster for this, and was like, "Yeah, I'll go watch this," because it is. I don't know. I think if I saw this in an actual movie theater, I would feel ripped off, or I'd feel kind of like, "Oh, that was it." But like, in the comfort of your own home, perfect 10 out of 10. Would recommend. And that. What about you, Nick? Would you recommend this movie to your friends and family?
I would tell them about it. I don't think I would say go and watch this, but I'd be like, hey, you want to see something weird and effed up? This is what you want to check out.
Or at the very least, just start the movie from the moment where the woman falls from the ceiling. That's probably the best. That's probably the best part of the movie. The rest of it's just giving you context for like. The rest of it's like is like, is your base level of like, okay, and then that's when it kicks it up into high gear and becomes a true cinematic masterpiece.
All right. Well, I think that about does it. Let's hope they make Malignant 2 Electric Boogaloo. Malignant 2 Gabriel's Revenge.
Oh God, I just saw a worse title.
Go on.
Malignant 2 Stage 4 or Stage 2.
Malignant Stage 2.
That's so bad, but that would be if God, I Want to Live in that universe where Malignant gets a sequel. Like, come on, just do it. Do it, you cowards.
What do they call it when the cancer returns? Like remissions when it's going away. So what do they call it when it Google, don't fail me now. What do they call it when cancer returns? I know there's like a medical term for
it. I know there is too. It's on the tip of my tongue. I can't think of it.
I googled it. It says recurrent, but I don't think that's the term. That's not what I'm thinking about. No. Was it Remission?
Remission
No,
is
no.
like that's what it
Remission
doesn't
goes
come back.
away. They saw Recurrence.
I guess you can call it that.
Yeah, that doesn't sound as cool. I was hoping for something more offensive.
Yeah.
Like a Malignant Recurrence.
Like I said, as long as it's one tumor monster fighting another tumor monster, that's all I want. Like, puts in some slick kung fu. I'm trying to think, like, oh god, what if it's like, okay, so if we're going off this idea that tumor monsters are kind of like demons, okay, here's your $1 billion idea, Hollywood. Like, you know how they say moles are like a type of cancer or something like that? What if it's like somebody covered in like 1 billion moles, and like, but they're each mole's like its own like little demon or something like that, like a legion type deal.
Oh my god! Like really lean into the cancer.
Yeah, fucking go whole hog. Like, just don't like just stop. And like each, like, oh my god, Nick, let's get pen and paper. We got to write down Malignant 2 regurgent recurrence.
Hey,
Like,
Hollywood, cut the check. Give me
got the
ideas here.
Mr. Wan, we have an idea. We have an idea for you. No, but yeah, but seriously, Malignant 2, green light at people. Do it, you cowards. That's the only other weird thing I wanted to say. The only other, yeah, that's pretty much most of the things. I did want to bring a quick shout out to the rock, besides the Pixie score that pops up, song that pops up in the movie. I will say the weird rock score that kind of also shows up here. Again, feeling very early 2000s ish. Like the opening credits where it's like kind of like a we couldn't afford the rights to Slipknot, so we're just going to sound Slipknot-esque.
Which is pretty sad if you can't afford the rights to Slipknot, because who the fuck cares about Slipknot anymore?
Hey, somebody. Hey, I still know
Nobody
who Slipknot.
If someone says they do, they're lying to you.
Let's start the hashtag cancel Slipknot.
They were able to cancel themselves.
Yeah, but yeah, Malignant, go see it. 2021 has just been been not as bad as 2020, but still not great. But we have things like Malignant. We can do great things, people.
I think on that note, we should close this out. So, Cuz, thanks for joining me.
Pleasure as always.
Episode tonight. This was good times, good talking about a future classic, and in the making, yes.
Yeah.
And I'm Nick from the All New Culture Cast. Your Cuz from the All New Culture Cast. And thanks for listening, everyone, and join us next week when we talk about Twilight. Have a great time, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to the All New Culture Cast. Check us out on social media. Drop us an email at nick.culturecast@gmail.com. We can't promise we'll read it. Theme music by Dana Vodovaz. Check out his work on YouTube with Vodovaz Music Productions. This has been the All New Culture Cast, a saltwater production. Original material copyright 2021. Thanks for listening.
How's that?
Oh yeah, you sound good. Did you just run up the stairs?
Yeah.
Because when you put the headset on, you're like breathing so heavily, like you just did a marathon or something.
Well, I am extremely out of shape, so
whatever.